What's up, queens? Welcome to Black Queens Uncut. Grab your wine, your vape, or whatever you need to relax so we can get into this queen chat. I'm super excited today because we are going to be doing a New Year's New Us, so it's just us queens. I'm Monique Lovelace. Queens, introduce yourself. Hello.
I'm TK Trinidad.
Hello. Damn.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Kiki Boom Boom.
Clearly, the queens didn't want to introduce themselves. So we got Kiki Boom Boom and we got TK. They both here.
Sorry, I had to type and I didn't want y'all to hear. You know when like the mic's on and someone's typing, you can hear all that. So I thought TK would go right when there's a space.
I was like, wait, what?
TK, you're supposed to go when there's a space.
I just saw people sitting there like.
No, I was typing something. I had to. Doing this. I'm actually working, and my job is annoying the fuck out of me. So, like, I'm texting at the same time. So I thought TK was going take that in.
Well, I didn't know. It's like, you know when you like get ready to double judge. It's like I didn't know. So I was just like, all right.
Right, because Kiki, you do usually go first. I will say that. So yeah. How's the job been going though?
It's interesting. It's been going good. I'm blessed that I have a job because I was laid off at the beginning of this COVID shit. But the only challenging part is it's in LA and I'm remote back in New York. So it's the hours for me. So I work 10 to 7 LA time, which is 1 to 10 p.m. my time. So that's a little frustrating because it's the whole goddamn day.
Right.
And I don't work on weekends, but for those who don't know, I work in television production. So my episodes and edit. So it was just like my producer, my editor looking for stuff. And I'm like, I don't work on Saturdays because I ain't getting paid for today, but I'll text you back to be kind. But but the job is good. Like it's what my old team that I worked with before. And they're courteous too. Like they'll send me a request and they're like, we know it's late for you. So maybe someone else can do it. And I'm like, it's 8 o'clock, but that's so sweet of you.
Right.
Because it's only 5 p.m. for them. But it's a blessing. I'm blessed to have this job.
Right. Because 2020 has definitely been crazy.
It's been rough.
I mean, I like to look at it in a positive way and say that it's kind of been like a reset for a lot of people, I feel like.
Yeah.
But there has been rough moments, I think, for everyone, whether it's emotionally, physically, or mentally. One of the three, I guess, things that you kind of tap. So what has changed for you, good or bad, in 2020? I can't believe we're ending the year.
Before we went live, I just said to you guys. So for me, bad wise, like my uncle passed away. I lost some family due to COVID. But the positive out of it, if you can take anything positive, this was the first time I was able to save money. This was the first time to work on my credit, my savings, because as a freelancer and as an on-air host, I don't make the money that I would like to. So this was a first for me, and to see my savings look the way that it does. And I'm like, yo, while still trying to get it together. I gained a lot of weight during this pandemic at the beginning, but that's not a negative. So I know, sometimes we're hard on ourselves when it comes to weight and stuff like that. I gained about 25 pounds, but I got a lot of positive feedback for that. Like my family was like, you're surviving, your body's surviving, it's okay. Or normally they would call me fat. So I thought that was dope. And a dude that I think is cute was like, no, you look good.
Yes, come through.
You like these rolls, Zaddy? No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
That's when you know it matters. I know we try to be so Miss Independent, but when a dude be like, oh no, you looking good, you be like, oh, okay, that touched the heart.
That's a positive. So that's been good. And then also being able to rest at the beginning of this. Now, no, because Monique, you and I talked about this. I got in a space where I didn't want to do anything when this shit first happened. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to podcast. I didn't want to record. I didn't want to produce. I wanted to be left alone for 3 months and watch Netflix. And that's exactly what I did. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced because, we're all on the go. We never rest. And It's not until August, I was like, okay, I guess I'll produce some content. But it was for this, it forced me to sit down. And that's like one of the positives. So I gained weight. I've been eating good. I sat down and I got more money.
Yes. Okay. TK, what about you?
I mean, this year or this year, I mean, last year, this is around the time that my younger cousin got sick. He passed away from cancer. So, the end of 2019 and then into 2020, up until maybe like September, it was just been like a shitstorm. Like my grandmother passed away, served some dude with a restraining order. It's just been a lot. And then you add in COVID and COVID, then Black Lives Matter, and then I also had immigration issues, which I'm still kind of dealing with. But it was kind of, I was talking to my cousin the other day, my older cousin, and I just really have this belief that, no, life is just these ups and downs. And if you can just kind of, learn from the lessons of the down, like there's always an up. And I think at this point, like there's like, my up is like here. And there's a lot of things that, came into play that, I've been praying for and that I like wanted. And I just feel like, your whole, and I'm sorry if people have experienced that, but I feel like your whole year can't be shit. Like I just have this belief that the way your life is set up and the way life is set up, it's not going to be, just wading through shit for years and years on end. And I don't know if it's because of that belief or whatever. It's just at this point, a lot of things are just kind of going well. Same thing, like Kiki, like my credit score has gone up. I'm making more money. The business is doing well. Like my love life is kind of popping. So it's just kind of like, a lot of things are just kind of, they're picking up, and I'm really thankful for. And a lot of learning lessons, and I think because of those learning lessons, it's put me in a better position now. So yeah, it's going well right now. If you talked to me at the beginning of this year, whew, I didn't know what was gonna happen. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think 2019 was a huge year for me. So I feel like going into this year, because technically, I've been blessed, and I was in the fashion industry for over 10 years. And I became my own freelancer and entrepreneur 4 years ago. So I've been working on my own for 4 years now, sustaining with like one job, multiple clients, but it was all personal styling. So I had started hosting um, like 3 years ago. So 2019 was a like sped all that up for me, and I was just like, wow. So 2020, I was going in like 2020 is my year. Okay, that all came to a halt in March. We started the podcast February of last year, which is really cool. And then March is when everything kind of started being like, okay, everything is shutting down. So I had a few contracts with a couple of companies, like major companies. One of them, most people know, was Nordstrom. And of course, it's fashion, so we're always the first to go. So my contracts were cut, but I was really excited about that because I wanted to go full-time hosting. So I felt like this year was really a good year for me because it was just like a reset. And it did exactly what you were saying, Kiki. It made me stop because in LA, I do think you get FOMO and you're just busy to be busy all the time. And it's like sometimes I was doing that. I realized I was getting FOMO. Like I would be like, oh, to social network, I have to go to this party. But I just did like two other jobs. And now I'm tired, but I need to get dressed to go to this party because I need a network. And it's just one of those things where it was like, no, sit your ass down so you can realize what's important, what's not important, reset, get this transformation, because I've been going through a mental transformation as well. I think it's mental and spiritual because I am a spiritual person. I know y'all hear me cuss a lot, but I am a spiritual person. I believe in God. And I just feel like it has been a reset year for me. It definitely has. It's definitely slowed me down. There are days where I literally lay in the bed all day, like just butt naked in the bed all day, don't care.
Same.
And it just feels good. It's like it really made me realize that when I do go back to work, because I am a workaholic, when I do go back to work, I do, or when I get back to being more busy, I will say, I do want to find that work life balance and not have one extreme to the other. Like one extreme of not doing nothing, and then you're so busy that you can't. You're just like, oh my gosh, I can't. So I definitely think it's been a reset year for me. But I hear stories and I'm like, damn, I feel real bad for y'all, like real bad.
It's been a tough year for a lot of people
It
this
has.
year, like
It
mentally, financially, emotionally. It's been a very tough year for a lot of people. So I think it is pretty dope the fact that like there are some people who had positives that happened to them this year. Because man, like I'll go to complain about something and then I'm like, fam, but this fucking judge in New York, her son was blasted away when he opened the door. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be like, like chill. Like my friend whose father died in ICU and she couldn't see him in COVID. So like when I
Mhm.
try to go to that this year, I'll be like, nope, chill out. Like when you asked me how work was going, I was going to do this whole fucking thing, but I was like, no, you have a job. You were laid off. You were blessed enough to get the unemployment, and your ass got a job. There's so many
Mhm.
people who didn't get that unemployment. They had to stretch out that bullshit stimulus check that they gave us at the beginning of the year. And there's some people who
yeah.
still didn't see it. So be blessed. So that's something I've been also checking myself a lot lately this year because there's so many people who can't see their families for Thanksgiving and Christmas. There's people who haven't seen their families in a year or so. So it's been tough for a lot of people, man,
Yeah.
but it's been a blessing for some.
It definitely has. And I will say that I'm a prayer person. Like I said, I am a spiritual person. So I pray for everyone, especially loved ones. But in this case, it's kind of like across the nation. I feel like everybody's feeling the effects across the globe, period. So I mean, with so much going on, I definitely will say that it still has been a blessed year for me. Like you said, Kiki, it was one of those things where my credit score went up. I was able to save more than what I've ever been able to save in the past maybe like 3 years. And it's really, that's a blessing. But yeah, there are people out there that are still getting evicted. They are, losing their homes. They don't have money. I mean, they just did where they were showing Texas in the food pantry, and that line looked like a concert, like the Beyonce concert line when you're
Listen,
leaving.
there's a church at the corner of my house in Brooklyn where every Monday and Wednesday they give out free food and the line wraps all the way around the corner. And it just shows you what America looks like right now because
Mhm.
there's so many people struggling who can't even feed their families. And I think about, like you just said, like people losing their homes in January when some of this shit's lifted because a lot of states have been protected from eviction. So now I'm like, damn, what happens in January when landlords are going to feel petty and be like, okay, bye.
Mhm.
It's actually at the end of this month.
Oh gosh, that's
December.
horrible.
I know here in LA, I think it's December the 26th or the
Oh my
31st. So it's
gosh,
right
that's
on during the holidays.
Mm.
So
horrible.
even like people aren't, they're focused on their bills and where they're going to live. They can't even really put up a Christmas tree and say, "Oh, let's explore the holidays or let's have fun during the holidays."
Yeah,
So I do feel, I felt a bit of relief when we found out that Biden won. So I did feel a little bit of relief during that time, but I do feel like we have a long way to go. And it's been an very eventful year, like historically eventful year.
Mhm.
Um, and I know this is probably gonna sound weird, but I think it's kind of cool to have been a part of history in this
yeah.
way.
I know what you mean. It's one of those things where in 30 years we can look because this I know for us growing up as millennials, there's things that I read about in history books and I would ask like my great grandmother about. And I have a cousin who's 103, and there's things that I talk to her about. Well, I'm like, yo, what was it like? And she's like, it was regular. So I feel like people are gonna be like, so what was 2020 like? Like,
Right.
is it true that there was a guy with orange face who ran the country who wasn't shit? Like, is it true that aliens went over the earth and y'all just didn't give a shit?
Is it true
Is it
y'all had
true?
no toilet paper?
Oh my God. Is it true like all the soap was in the store, but like hand sanitizer and toilet paper were sold out? Like I feel like our grandkids are gonna be like, what the fuck were you guys doing in 2020? But I feel like because as a millennial, going through what we've been through, like from like 9/11 and 2020 and the recession and a lot of crazy shit, like we really are a part of history. And this year It's a reset year. And if you're into astrology and all that stuff and you see what the planets are doing, you
Mm-hmm.
know that this year was supposed to happen. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like a reset and a restart where going forward, it's supposed to be better for a lot of people.
And I definitely agree with that because it's taken, even though people are really down and out, it's definitely making people think differently and assess what's really important in life and look at what has been going on and be like awaken their senses to say, hey, I want to get involved because at this point it's come down to hurting me and my family. So where can I get involved? Like I think this was the highest like vote in history. Like
Mhm.
voters made history because we don't have anything to do but sit there and watch the news.
Mm.
And when you don't have the ability to wake up the next day and just go on about your life, it's a wake up call. It's like we can change this. We can change what goes on around us. So I definitely believe that it is a mind reset for everybody. I won't say everybody. I'll say a lot of people. It's a mind reset for a lot of people because it's gonna make you think out of the box. It might have made you start a business or be like, you know what, y'all let me go. I'm gonna stay on this furlough, get my little check. I'm gonna start my own stuff.
Okay.
You know,
Period.
so at the end of the day, I feel like it was definitely, and we know because Kiki and I are really into astrology and stuff. So we knew that this year was coming in a different way. I don't know if I pictured it like this, but we knew it was the year of reset. So, it's just one of those like, okay, but you don't know what it's gonna look like. What was the biggest lesson y'all learned this year?
You don't have to eat so much and drink so much. That ass. I
I
fucking
can't with
ate
you.
my little fat ass heart away.
I
I
can't
I
Oh,
stand
I
her.
ate
Lord.
so much because okay, on a serious note, like because in the pandemic, all I did was eat, eat and drink, and now my skin is ruined. I'm fat as hell now.
Oh my gosh, I cannot.
No, I'm kidding. Something I learned is life is way too short, and not to take everything so serious. Because I stress. I'm an overachiever, and I stress a lot when I feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And like you said, Monique, with the whole FOMO thing, like I feel like so much things have happened. I'm now back in New York. I'm not in LA, and I was like in LA. I was hard on myself because I'm like, oh, I'm not hosting. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm
Right.
not where I'm supposed to be. And something I learned was like, fam, shit, it's okay. Life is way too short. Don't take it serious. Don't stress. And if you feel like you're not doing what you want to be doing, create your own shit. Don't
Yeah.
wait for someone else to give it to you. And that's something that I learned. Like, stop waiting and just create your shit, and the people will come and have a good time because you don't know when you're going to see people last and when you're going to speak to them. But on a serious note about eating and drinking, because all I did was eat and drink in this damn pandemic. And I don't know if I thought the weight was just going to just magically come off of me, but I learned because I'm not a cooker. So this is where I really like honed
Yeah.
in on cooking. So I learned how to cook. I was just eating horribly and I drank so much liquor.
Oh my goodness.
So going forward in 2021, when we go on another lockdown, I just know how to be better at whatever lockdown's coming next. I know not to eat so much and drink.
Wow.
I'm
Oh my
being
gosh,
honest.
I
Oh,
cannot. I
I'm
can.
being honest. Sis gained a whole triple chin. Okay, I'll be working on that in 2021.
oh goodness.
Oh
This is
my
what
god,
2020. This is what 2020 gave me.
I cannot. I feel what have I learned? I feel okay. So I already said that I learned to learn how to be more productive instead of busy. That was a big one of mine. And then I feel like during this pandemic, I learned that I don't know, I guess I learned I like to be around people. I do like to be around people more than what I thought I did.
Oh,
Because I miss people.
Listen, shit. That's something I didn't think I would miss was people. I hate people. I love people, but I hate them at the same time. So I'm like, damn, I didn't think I would actually miss being around people.
I did too. I was like, hey, I'm kind of missing people. Like there would be days I would just go sit at TK's house because I was just like, shit, I just said that.
No, when I went to see you guys, I was like, hey guys, like I didn't think that like seeing other people
We
in
ordered
person,
wings and everything.
that was a fucking
It was
highlight
like
of my year.
meeting in like 5 hours or 3 hours. I was like, yo, I'm about to get hungry. So if you guys want to eat,
That was amazing. I was like, oh, because you know, at the time, me and for those who listen to the show, Drew and I are roommates, so it would be me and her because we had to stay in the house, which I love. But like when I got to see like you guys, I was like, yes, or like we would have like a little game night of like safely 2 people, and I'd be like, okay, this is what it's like to miss people. I did see some memes where people who are introverts were like the people who don't go out, they said they miss having the option of being invited and saying no to like events.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's
that's
nice.
true. That's true. I do miss going out and like having dinners and brunches and like really vibing with a group of people and being able to do pool parties
Oh,
and just more when people have their birthdays, they take over the club and you
oh,
go like I just miss that. I miss being able to be like, no, I don't want to go, or yes, I'm going to get dressed and go tonight and be around people and just having that
yeah.
one-on-one networking, like, feel. But I guess those were like the two biggest lessons I learned. Like, I actually like people. Oh, and I also learned that clearly with the podcast, I can be consistent.
Hey, gang gang.
Well,
I don't really miss the going out part. Um, I really one of the things I did learn was that like no matter what, you're always like in a work in progress, and lessons that you thought you learned, like you kind of like, okay, well, this area, like I'm good. It's like, no, like there's always something that you can learn about yourself. And in the midst of like despair, there's always some type of gems you can learn. So that was really, really kind of like important, because there's so much that I learned with just so much like death that's happened, which I'm not used to. I learned so much from it, and like I said before, I feel like I'm a better person, and certain things wouldn't have happened if certain things didn't happen. If that makes sense. So that's definitely just it's just been eye opening, just to just see certain things from a different perspective, opposed to like, nah, I'm good here. This is how I'm seeing it, and so that was really kind of key. But what I do appreciate with COVID is that it really slowed things down, and there's certain things that I wanted to do that I was able to do, as far as being more creative and all these other things that kind of came into play because of it. And seeing things further out, if that makes sense, versus waiting for some network to give you a job instead of just kind of creating the stuff. And just the way the business came about and stuff like that. It's just kind of certain things happened before COVID that, so for instance, my whole immigration thing happened. It was crazy, and I decided to set up a GoFundMe. And that GoFundMe was literally ended 2 weeks before the world shut down.
Wow.
And if the timing of it didn't, if I didn't do that timing, I did it after, there would have been no way. And I received so much support from people that I like barely, like I kind of, there's people from like my yoga class, like I don't really know these women, and there were people that were supporting me. And it was just kind of like, I just really saw that, one, character wise, like I'm doing something right. And then two, that like people like really rock with me. So that was like really, really important. Then COVID happened. And then my grandmother passed away. And then I realized like the instant connection of the stuff that she taught me as a child without even teaching it to me, about character and about the same thing that she said over and over again, that really came into play of like why people like fuck with me. So it was just kind of going through that process. And then really, I think the biggest takeaway is, we can all say what we want in life, but if we truly don't put our intentions towards it, and we truly don't like believe in it, then it's just always going to be saying, oh, I want this. And I think that kind of really kind of came into play because there's things I say, yeah, I want this, I want that, but in the behind the scenes, in the subconscious, like that wasn't the thought process. So those were kind of like the lessons that kind of really honed, and then just kind of staying connected to whatever you believe in, whether it's God or the universe or stuff like that. Like another example is with the business, I decided to fix the website. I hired somebody to fix the website. Thank you to Monique, because somebody was telling me about Fiverr for years. I was like, let me go ahead and just find somebody on Fiverr, and she fixed the website before COVID happened. And that was something that, I was thinking about. I decided to pull the trigger, and COVID happened, and everybody was at home, and our sales went like through the roof. And I did an okay job doing the website, but the newer version of it was definitely more easier for people to use. Therefore, we got more sales. So just certain things just kind of happened amongst all the other craziness that was happening in my life. And I feel like if I, wasn't a strong person to an extent to kind of still get up and go to work and still kind of do certain other things and etc., and just kind of continue through the process and not let it kind of take me out, then the other side, which is like right now, would be totally different. So that was like a long thing, but just
No,
Retweet.
you
I
good.
retweet that.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What do y'all? How do y'all think that in 20 years this will be talked about? Like 2020 will be talked about. I will say this. I at first, because I always have a hard time with. Well, I wouldn't say a hard time. I really have to think about things and understand them for myself, and like accept it for myself. So I have to be able to do the research and stuff like that. The way these industries are crashing and burning
Yeah.
to rebuild new, at first I was like, damn. But now I'm like, I'm excited about it. I'm super excited about it. And I think that's something, especially that we're in the entertainment industry, I feel like it's shifting and it's going to kind of shift even more now.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm kind of excited to, well, what I think will be talked about in the next 20 years is how the entertainment industry is done. I think it's going to be different. Um, and I don't know what it may look like, but being from the fashion and the entertainment industry, I think both of them are going to look super different. So like if I decide to have kids, they're not going to know it how I knew it. Um, they may not even be going to movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't know. They may only stream at home, and that's what they know. So that's something I feel like will be talked about in the next 20 years is like how industries used to look. Like remember when we knew, because we're millennials, we knew the what's the thing, the phone booth, the phone booth.
Oh
Oh
We
yeah.
don't have phone
yeah.
booths no more. My little cousin was like, "What's a phone booth?" I was like, "Are you serious?"
I used to love phone booths. I think like in 20 years, I think it's going to be talked about by country because every country has been doing everything different for 2020, and the United States will be dragged in 20 years, and they'll be talking about how stupid this country is or was. Every other country is thriving and living their best lives, and the kids will be back in school. Businesses will be back. I think in 20 years, like in the United States, I don't know if kids will physically, like everything will be different. Like
Right.
this will be, it's funny though, because I remember talking to someone recently and we were just talking about all the different viruses. And he was like, yo, remember like SARS and Ebola? I was like, damn, like I forgot, not saying that it never left me, but because it's been a while for me, or even when what's the white stuff that people used to like send in the mail to try to kill
Oh,
people?
Anthrax.
anthrax. Yeah.
Anthrax, like, so I don't know. Like, part of me is like, I know 2020 will be dragged, but in 20 years, this shit might, you know what I'm saying? Unless like someone's really looking into it, because I forgot about everything like mad
Yeah,
cow
that's
disease,
true.
SARS, anthrax until he brought it up. And I was like,
Right.
oh shit. I think it's not until another virus hits that people might be like, remember 2020 when we didn't do what we were supposed to do with COVID? Then I feel like people will start bringing it up.
I
Right.
think for those, we just don't remember them because we got acclimated with a new normal.
Yeah.
Like the way
And
you
you
used to
know,
go, the way you used to go through the airport, like you used to be able to walk your family all the way up to the
yeah.
plane, everything.
And
But
the
after
country
nine
did what
11,
they were supposed to do. So we weren't really like privy to the information because they did what they were supposed to do behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Where 2020,
Mm.
it's a little different. It's a little different.
Honey.
But this year will definitely go down. But again, like, the 1920s were rough because I've talked to like my great grandmother and my cousin who's
With
103,
the
like,
flu.
you know what I'm saying? Like, so I can only where they've lived through all that. So I know we'll be okay, but I do know we'll be able to talk shit with like our grandkids or nieces
Right.
and nephews and be or talk to ourselves in like 40 years and be like, girl, remember 2020?
Mm. Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna be the same scenario. I think they were doing like the NBA draft and they were like asking some of the kids about like things like VCRs and they had no
That
idea
pissed me off. I'm sorry. I hate stuff like
what it
that.
was.
That
So
video was so annoying because they're like a beeper that looks like a VCR, and I think it annoys me because sorry, TK.
because you know what
I
it
know
is.
these kids were born in 2000, but I was born in the 80s, and I know shit from like the 60s. But I do know it's different for kids born in 2000s because they're not really like they weren't really watching TV like how we were or online, so they
Right.
don't really care. But shit like that pisses me off when they seen like Destiny's Child or Backstreet Boys, and they're like, I don't know, and I'm like, what?
Well,
And
that
I get it.
speaks to like social media and where we are now because
Yes.
everything is catering to the individual. So when
Yeah.
you have Netflix, you have your own Netflix, thing, and they're going to just show you videos that you're going to want to see.
You're
So
absolutely right.
like a Superman or whatever, of whatever era because they're seeing certain things. So like that's the scary part. The scary part is and I've had a few conversations with people, just the lack of like knowledge. And that's really, really scary to me because it's like if you don't know certain things, then one, you're not passing it on to your children because you don't have the thirst for it. And then two, the kids are already at a disadvantage because the textbooks are changing, and then on top of that, everybody's in their own little pods. So it's like, what is this generation gonna look like?
I'm
And
scared.
are they even gonna ask us what 2020 was like? Or are they just gonna all ship us off to old people homes because they don't really give a fuck?
Well,
So
on
it's not
Twitter,
like,
trending right now, it's if you're 30, you're like fucking 70 years old. So like
right.
the new generation they're so creepy. They're like, oh, you're 25, you're old. I'm like, wait, what? But you're right. It's an education thing where we were taught, like I grew up in the 90s, but I knew what like the shit that they used to like a record player or like I know stuff from the 70s and 60s because that's the things that I was taught and I seen. So when I
Right.
hear kids who were just born like 2000 and they don't know anything like from 95, I'm like, all right, come on.
Yeah, even down to the music. I mean, you have kids who are saying, Tupac was a joke and,
Like,
all this other stuff, but it's just kind of like, it's crazy to me. And I'm sure you could speak to this more, Kiki, but it's crazy to me that, music is just an evolution. So all the songs that you hear, like even the songs that you hear now, it's a spin-off of stuff from the 90s and it's a spin-off
okay.
from something else. And if you don't know that history, you can't fully appreciate the song. And it's just kind of like, it's just,
Yeah,
there's just so
it's a
many.
scary thought to see the next generation because I'm like, well, damn,
Yeah, they're different.
what do you know?
Yeah.
But you're right.
Exactly.
It's catered to the individual. Where for us, it was blanketed. So I would watch shows with my grandma. I was in school. I was learning about things from like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. Shit, we learned about things from the 1700s. Like, so it boggles my mind when kids are like, I don't know what that's from the 80s. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy.
But it's
So
not
you're
even the
right.
kids. It's like some people too. Like what will really get you on the dating apps that really pisses me off is what will really kind of get me is that somebody says, because I have like, my flags because I'm like a proud, Caribbean Canadian person. And somebody like, oh yeah, like my dad's Caribbean, like, so from where? Oh, I don't know. Like
Right. It's so
I do not know.
that
I
just
just think 2020 and
automatically.
COVID is gonna like people's brains are gonna be so fucked up in 20 years. You're gonna watch that commercial like in 2020, did you experience COVID? Please call 1-800. Like I feel like in 20 years, you're gonna have to call that number and be like, yeah, I had COVID. My brain is all fucked up. I can't breathe still. What's up?
Yeah, and then the new vaccine. Are you guys gonna be taking that?
Mm.
I'm gonna let people take it first, and then listen, I know the world has been healed on vaccines, but I do think I'm gonna let some people try it out first before I try it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know if the world has been healed on vaccines. I feel like it's that is a controversial topic because you have people who believe in just herbs and things like that, or you have people who do believe in medicine. I think that medicine is something to be explored if you have certain issues and you feel like it's going to help. But at the same time, I also believe in certain herbs and vitamins and things helping you too. But with so many conflicting ideologies around it out there and so many people in greed happening, you just never know. So when it comes to the vaccine, I personally, I'm like Kiki, I definitely will probably need to see people get it. And
I'll take
see
like around two.
Just like the phones, wait for
The
the
second
next
round.
one. Yeah.
I say that because like, we have evolved so much and like we're not dying at the age of 12 from like smallpox. So that's why like vaccines have definitely helped. And the fact that we all got here to 2020 because as kids, we had to take vaccines. Like I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I believe in like that's the reason why we're still here. But I'm like, I'll probably wait to round two for this one. I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's
I just want to see it out first.
yeah. It's hard
yeah,
to know
because
the
I don't
intention.
even get the flu vaccine. The
Oh
the
yeah.
the last time I got
Yeah.
the last time I got the flu vaccine, I actually ended up with the flu.
A lot
And
of people did.
not only did I end up with the flu that year, when I got the vaccine, I was sick as fuck. Like it made me
Yeah.
so sick.
But that's the thing about vaccines. Like a lot of people get sick, and then it's like a thing where it helps a lot of people, but then there are people who get sick from the vaccine. So it's like
Yeah, I
it's a
think
personal choice. It's like, do you want to risk getting sick? Because I also don't get the flu shot anymore, but
Mhm.
I know I got it for years and I never got the flu. And then when I didn't get it, I got the flu last year. So that's
really.
something that yes, that's something that I'm wrestling. When I decided not to do it, who got sick? And I have a very great immune system, and I
Mhm.
kept getting sick. And
Yeah.
I'm like, see, this is, but I
You
understand.
sure you didn't have COVID?
No, I mean, I could have, but I don't know. God willing,
Yeah.
bless
Everybody
God.
thought every black person thought they had COVID
Everybody
in
thought they had
January.
COVID, but no, it was the flu because my boss gave he has kids, so every time he got sick, I got sick, and that
Mhm.
never happened, and that's because I stopped getting vaccine. But I understand why our people are paranoid. I understand why Black people don't want to put shit in their body because we were used as fucking science experiments, and
Mhm.
people were shooting us up with it. So I understand the paranoia of why people and some of these vaccines make people sick. So I understand why people are like I want to watch and see. That's why I'm like maybe round two, round three.
Yeah, but you even like I'm an avid watcher of the Daily Show, and one thing that they did say was that certain countries in Africa like they're actually declining, and one of the reasons they are declining is
Mhm.
because they experienced. And when we talk about SARS and all this other stuff that happened in North America, like it didn't shut down Canada or the US. But in other places, it literally shut down and people were dying at a ridiculous rate.
Right.
And what they were saying was because they've experienced those things when COVID happened, they already had some systems in place to the point that if you enter a neighborhood, they have you wash your hands, like they have you almost disinfect yourself before you. And these are
That's
like
how it's supposed
neighborhood
to be
people
here.
doing it.
That's
So
what it was supposed to happen here, but we're the
We
only dumbass
had a whole team
country.
in place. Thank you, Obama.
President Obama set that up for the United States, but
right.
this country decided that they want to listen.
No, this
Well,
decided.
that's what I mean. Like the people who are running this bullshit, not individual wise, those assholes at the top decided that they were better than that and they were going to harm and risk our lives and not their lives. Where people are mad because
Mm-hmm.
Africa's thriving. No one had fucking COVID. They're mad. Africa's like, don't
Yep.
come in here. No. Canada's like, no,
And
get out.
even Canada's surging right now too. They just closed down the
I
city.
seen that.
So I mean, it's just it speaks to the patients, and it speaks to we're just
It's scary, man.
yeah. I think we just don't listen, and I think also the American mentality is to feel like we're invincible, and
Yeah.
we go off and do things like have I know people who had birthday parties. Like, oh, just go and get tested and we can have a birthday party. Like, no,
I'm
that's
like, it
not a
don't
good
work
idea.
that way.
Yeah.
People going to
So,
weddings and baby showers. I'm like, guys, you're gonna go
Right.
kill your grandma. Like, it doesn't work that way,
yeah.
fam. But good luck.
And then even if it is
Well,
a hoax, like which side do you want to err on? It possibly being a hoax and you taking that chance and infecting family members, or it might not be a hoax and take it seriously. It's just kind of like just err on that side of caution because you never know.
Facts.
Right. So going into 2021, what are some things that you guys want to have as your resolutions, and what do you kind of want to accomplish?
2021, I would like to I like to create my own shit because I think I was in a space where was waiting for someone to give me an opportunity, and that's something I learned during this pandemic was like, no, just create your own shit. So 2021, a goal for mine is creating my own stuff, putting it out there and not being afraid because for me, I'm my biggest critic and I'm my biggest problem. I'm in my own way. So 2021, that's a goal of mine, and just doing everything differently and possibly losing this weight that I gained. I'm
Awesome.
in no rush.
Okay.
And hopefully my dating life will get better in 2021. That'd be awesome.
Right.
No, but I and just talking to people more because so many lives have been lost throughout the shit. And as we see the holidays are coming up and the numbers are gonna go up. So life is way too short. And just telling people I love them more, trying to get out of my little lazy bag because I definitely got lazy last year. So I'm just hoping for all and being more positive and manifesting more. Like I just want to go into 2021 more positive and being like, all right, we know what to expect. This is what I can now do with that. Instead of like complaining, let's find a fucking solution, Nakia. Like that's what I say to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping for all good things,
Right.
sex, a boyfriend, a diet, and more money.
Yes. TK,
Not a diet, but you know what I'm saying.
Um,
what are your resolutions for 2020? What do you want to
I don't
accomplish?
necessarily know if there's like resolutions, but just kind of continuing on like the good things that have been happening. So like obviously business wise, keep growing that, and we've had a lot of great traction. So keep learning. Like even with that, that's like an everyday learning process for me. And then also I've been kind of developing like a 80-20 work-life balance. So like, just I'm never gonna be that, 50-50 person, or taking a whole week. That's not happening. And so just kind of, just taking those moments. And then also what I do really, really regret with my grandmother passing away is not having like those conversations. Like we would have conversations, but really kind of digging and being the journalist that I am and like finding out about her life. So, there's questions that I send both my parents just randomly, so they're not feeling like they're being interrogated, but that, kind of gives me clues on like how they were growing up. So that's really, something that I really want to do. And then there's a show that I had it in the works, and I've been waiting to pull the trigger on it, and I know why. I don't know, the universe kind of held me back, and now things really make sense and is really clear. So I'm really kind of excited about that. And it's just life is kind of great. So essentially the resolution is just really kind of remain true to who I am, and really kind of sit back before I make decisions, because I'm more of a person that like, all right, cool, we're doing this, and then I just kind of go. So really kind of sit back in the moment, and then make the decisions, and assess, and then also question myself as well. And that might take like a day, or that might take a minute, but actually like really doing that. So those are kind of like the main goals.
Yeah, I feel like this, as I said in past episodes, this year I think I'm not gonna go the so much as goal route or resolutions. I kind of want to go the more intentional route. Like I intend to maybe get a little more into activism and philanthropy, and I intend to really work on being more patient, um or making decisions quicker. So I think that's something that I feel like I'm going to do this year, instead of like getting this whole thing of paper and writing down all my goals and saying, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do, and then coming up short because I feel like I didn't do anything that I said I wanted to really do. Maybe like 3 or 4 things off the list, which one of my life coaches was like, that's better. Like most people list is only like 3 or 4 things.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I want to go the more intentional route this year to kind of not put that pressure on myself, especially seeing what just happened after 2020. And you can't really control the condition. You can only control how you feel and how you work around it, and how,
How you
what you can
react.
control for yourself. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I think for this year, I definitely want to just be more intentional. And this is different this year for me because usually I am a goal setter and I have resolutions like this is what I'm going to do. And then I put my goals in a book every month. Like I go and do my goals every month. And so to reassess kind of like where I'm at or where my thoughts and stuff are at. And I just want to continue to be creative and continue to, like we said the last episode, to continue to just build out Black Queens Uncut, of more of a media conglomerate than, just a podcast. So that gives me the chance to, still use my creativity, and, we can see some coins coming through,
That
and
part.
just, next level for it. So that's probably like my big intention or my creative side. And then just like I said, just being intentional is definitely the number one thing that I really want to work on this year. Um, so yeah, I feel like this is a good place to wrap the episode. Oh my gosh, because I can't believe it's gonna be 2021 already.
Crazy. I feel like I know this year was a drag for some, but I feel like it was slow, but it was fast because I feel like I blinked and
Yeah.
I came to New York to visit. I came to New York to work and it was March. I blinked and I'm back in New York and it's December, excuse me, and it's the end of the year and we're about to hit 2021.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary.
Right. I do hope to see more interactions,
Yeah.
being able to go out more and being able to like see the people that you love or that you want to be around a little more. I do want to see that happen in 2021 because this just being in the house
Woo.
all the time is like, ooh, this not made for people. It's
I
just not.
think we will once Joe Biden and Kamala take, and then we have a lockdown, and hopefully we're supposed to do what we're supposed to do. Not this curfew shit that New York and the East Coast and West Coast are doing. Shut it down. Once they shut it down, I do feel like spring, summertime, hopefully we may be in a better position once they
Position.
shut it down for like 6 weeks, a few months, and then hopefully, fingers crossed.
Whew,
Yes,
well,
let's keep the fingers crossed. You
I'll
heard it
cross the
here
fingers,
first at
but
Black
I
Queens
don't know.
Uncut. We need to see something different in 2021.
I know, but what I would say, which I have been doing, and people have been really grateful. Not to say, anyways, what I have been doing, what I think people should do is check on your like friends that you're not like they're not your like super friends. They're not your BFFs, but they're in your circle. I've been doing that a lot lately, and it's been really just helpful on both sides. Just to talk to somebody, just to see, where they're at, like, if they're okay. And, people have been really receptive to that. And, we don't call each other that often because we're in a society of, okay, well, she's still alive because I'm seeing her on my feed. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So, check on the people who you think are like super strong and they might not be going stuff because you just never know, and they might not tell you what they're going through, but just having that phone call of just like, hey, like you're good, like you just checking up on you is like a huge
Yep.
it just on a mental note, it really is helpful to folks. So
Right.
and you never know, like for you doing that, the time that you're down, you might get that phone call that you didn't expect. So, really just kind of, I get it. It all sucks and nobody wants to be in the house. But, the great thing that being in 2020 and not being in 1920 is we have a phone.
Okay. And we
Right.
have Netflix,
We have
social
Netflix. We have a
media.
lot of stuff going on.
We
Yeah.
got a lot of shit we can be doing in
Yeah.
2020.
So,
Right. That's the
just
good part is that you got internet, you got digital, you got outlets to kind of be able to connect with people across the world. So that is definitely true. Um, and I believe that too, because I wouldn't have been able to survive back then. Oh, I mean, back then I feel like at least you would have a husband or something, and you can just go ahead and
Excuse me.
babies out of it during that time.
Yeah,
But
back then people were upset. They didn't even want to be around their husbands. They were
but they
hungry.
have no choice because the
That's a
women
fact.
were,
And it was the norm for them back then. You know what I'm saying? Where like we grew up on like this
yeah.
technology bullshit. So like back then they were used to like being in a house with reading a book. And that's all they could really do
Right.
if they had a damn book. Here, we're like, no Netflix, no internet. We're
Losing my
like
mind.
freaking
When
out.
the internet goes out.
Like I freak out when my Wi-Fi goes out. So I think
Right.
we're
We be
blessed in
freaking when the
2020. And I think
internet goes out.
2021 will now have the tools that we took from this first lockdown until whenever the next lockdown is. We'll be like able to be like, all right, I can do this a little bit better and manage where a lot
Yeah.
of people couldn't emotionally manage it, I think.
Right. Um, all right, Queens, let's wrap up. And thank you, Queendom family, for listening. Ladies, let them know where they can find you.
I just want to say Happy New Year's. I know TK, I'm ready. I'm going to go first, TK. That's why I did this because I was ready to go first. I want to say Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays. I hope you guys have a great New Year. Hopefully, 2021 will be better for you guys, and I'll see you guys on the other side in 2021. And feel free to slide in my DMs if you're single. You can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom. I'm ready in 2021. I'm ready in 2021. Okay? I'm getting a boo. I don't care what no one says. I'm
You know
manifesting.
what?
Manifest it.
I'm getting a
Facts.
man.
Okay,
Okay.
let them know where they can find you.
Facts. So you can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. If you want to support Black businesses and you want to like buy stuff, we're having sales like all of December into January. So you can go to centerin.co. Same thing on social media, Centerin Co. We got you on the body butter, we got you on the scrubs, we got you on the beard oil, we got you on the hair oil, and we have new products that we're going to be debuting as well. So, you know, your support is appreciated. And even if you're like, yo, I don't buy any of that stuff, you can just support with some money. We have a little tip thing on the website as well, so you can do all that. But really, really appreciate it if you do, or tell a friend about it. Other than that, same thing with Kiki. I'll see you on the next side, 2021. Just like positive energy, positive thoughts, even though you're going through shit. Period.
Right, exactly. You can find me on all social media at It's Monique Loveless. And yes, I will retweet both of them, and I will see you guys over on the other side in 2021. RIP to anybody who didn't make it. And you know, my prayers is out to your friends and families, because this has been a rough year, a lot of death, a lot of just, you know, morbid kind of stuff going on. So we really shout out to all those people who are listening. And if you had a family pass away, our hearts are out to you guys. We're hoping that 2020 will be looking better. So we're really excited about 2020. Hopefully we can say this is my year again and it be for real. Um, so yeah, but make sure you catch us on all the rest of our platforms at Queens Uncut. Subscribe on our YouTube channel at Black Queens Uncut. And you can find us on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, anywhere you need to, so that you can listen to all the rest of the episodes and keep up with us every Wednesday. And we also have our new website out. So make sure you visit it at www.blackqueensuncut. You can go there for everything. You can even donate if you want to, because child, we need it. You know, we Black, we need it. We'll take it for the holidays. And we're wishing everybody a happy holiday, a happy new year. And thank you for tuning in, Queendom family. We love you guys. And we will see you next, or we will be here next Wednesday. Thank
Happy
you.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Ciao.
Bye.